Reminder: the weekly human therapy session begins in 30 standard time units. All humans, please report to Multipurpose Room 4. The ship AI announced in a mid-tone, female voice with a mild British accent. When the announcement ended, Vrax could not contain his curiosity. He had long worked with a human named Neil, a human engineer. Over the years, the two had developed a friendship, and it seemed Vrax could ask his friend a simple question. "Neil, I got to ask, what's with that? All crew members are required to attend regular mental health sessions, but only humans do it simultaneously as a group," Vrax asked with trepidation. "That is nothing. We all just sit around and talk. You're welcome to come if you want." Neil spoke distractedly, as he fiddled with a broken plasma sensor. "Really? Nobody would be bothered by me being there? Need I remind you of my species?" "Nah, the more the merrier. And there's food. And to answer the question you aren't asking, don't worry about the war. It's been over for years. Hell, I was in the war. And we're friends." Standing half again taller than an average human and twice the weight, Vrax's species was not known to turn down an opportunity to eat. "Well, not to intrude, but I am a bit hungry." "Nice. We should get going. It's my week to set up the wood." Walking down the ship corridor toward Multipurpose Room 4, Vrax found his mind running wild. Humans don't consume dense plant fiber like some other species. Why do they need wood? And what kind of species invites an outsider? In Vrax's therapy sessions, they often discuss private matters he would never want known. Approaching the entry to Multipurpose Room 4, Vrax realized he had never been in the room, and then he recalled why. Hanging just above the door activation panel, a sign stated, "Humans Only." "Are you sure I am welcome?" Vrax asked while pointing to the sign. "Yeah, no worries. It's just due to the high oxygen in the room. You may get a bit jittery in there, but it won't hurt you," Neil explained before opening the door. "Plus, I would appreciate the help." Walking into the room, Vrax looked around. The room had clearly once been a massive cargo bay, but it had practically been terraformed. There were trees and plants from the human homeworld, and the ground appeared to be several meters of dirt. In the center of it all, in an area like a meadow, stood a small wood building appearing to have been built from the same trees growing in the room. Not far from the building was a small blackened space on the dirt floor. Looking up, Vrax saw the ceiling was high enough and painted a dark enough color to make it near invisible. The only way he even knew it was there were the small points of light, which he supposed were meant to simulate stars. "By the great goddess, this place is incredible! You humans have literally brought part of your homeworld onto the ship!" Vrax exclaimed with shock. "Yeah, we can only do this on the largest ships meant for extremely long voyages. Any human ship with voyages over 10 Earth years requires a space like this by regulation." "I guess it makes sense for this ship then," Vrax said quietly. "Right. Only 16 years and a wake-up to go," Neil joked. "So you all just sit here for a few hours?" "It's a bit more than that. See that pile of wood over there? Bring over a few armfuls, would you?" Neil asked, as he grabbed a red metal can of liquid. "Yeah, sure," Vrax said, as he walked over and picked up dozens of wood fiber sections. "Just throw it down here," Neil said, pointing at the blackened space in the dirt. "It's a beautiful space, and I get why you humans would enjoy being in here, but... well, not to be rude, but where is the food you mentioned?" Vrax inquired. "Food will be here soon, but we've got to cook the food. Can't cook the food without the fire," Neil casually explained, as he dumped the foul-smelling liquid onto the wood Vrax had just dropped. As Vrax wondered why his translation device had miscommunicated the human, he saw Neil make one of those disturbing facial expressions humans called a grin. The next thing Vrax knew, he was engulfed in heat and saw flames soar above his head. "Yeah, I'm not much of a survivalist, I just light her up with gasoline," Neil chuckled. "By the wrath of the terror, it's a fire! We need to sound the alarm!" Vrax screamed, as he looked for the fire alert. "Vrax! Vrax! Damn it, look at me, it's okay. This space is made for fire. There is no fire alert system here. Calm down." Neil screamed loud enough to get Vrax's attention. "But it's a fire! In space, on a space vessel. That's the one thing everyone agrees is bad," Vrax said with panic. "Yeah, humans see it as more of a bad idea. Sometimes bad ideas give good results, making it a good idea," Neil said, confused by his own logic. As he was about to respond, Vrax was interrupted by another voice. "I got the hot dogs, marshmallows, and all the fixins. Fire's going, nice!" the captain exclaimed as he walked up. Vrax quickly straightened up and rendered a rigid salute. "Greetings, Captain," he spoke firmly. "Vrax, good to see you, buddy. Drop the salute, though. There is no rank in this room. Just people," the captain said, as he offered a handshake. Clearly confused and more than a little uneasy, Vrax shook the captain's hand as he saw more humans arrive. As time went by, Vrax found himself becoming more relaxed. He watched as the humans pulled chairs up around the fire and used a stick to hold chunks of odd-looking meat over the fire. Slowly, Vrax found the courage to get his own chair and sit close to Neil. Over the next few hours, Vrax was introduced to the wonders of hot dogs over a fire and the indescribable experience of charred sugar cubes, sandwiched between chocolates and crackers. As everyone ate their fill, even Vrax, the commotion died down and the captain spoke. "Hey, Tom, you're staring rather intently into the fire? Something up?" "Oh, nothing, Captain. Just memories, you know," Tom said in a quiet voice. "Yeah, I get you," the captain said, as he redirected his attention to Vrax. "Vrax, many of us in the room are veterans from the war between our species. Now, let me assure you, nobody in this room holds animosity toward you personally, but it is a common point of discussion during our time here. Would it bother you if we shared?" No, Captain. I am a guest here. I am grateful for the food. Please, do not let me interfere," Vrax said in a shy voice. "Thank you, Vrax. Tom, please, share the memory you were thinking about," the captain said. Looking at Vrax, almost as if seeking permission, Tom only spoke after a slight nod from Vrax. "I was at the Battle of Three Trees, Captain. It's where I lost my leg," Tom said, as he tapped the metal prosthetic below his left knee. Without thinking, Vrax spoke. "You were at Three Trees? That is where my species lost the war. Your fleet maneuvers were perfect. We never detected your ships behind the gas giant until it was too late." "Vrax, were you at Three Trees?" the captain asked. "I was, sir. I had just graduated my species engineering program and was forced into service aboard the Unspeakable Terror." Tom's gaze shifted from the embers of the fire up to Vrax's face. "The Unspeakable Terror? My ship, the Endless Hope, destroyed that ship. I was the gunner that fired the shot that detonated her reactor, right before our own reactor went critical. I was told there were no survivors from the Unspeakable." Tom spoke sadly. Vrax felt everyone's eyes upon him as he drifted back to the memory. "There almost weren't. We had a good captain. When our shields fell, the engines were dead, and he saw you lining up for the shot. He ordered the ship abandoned. He knew the inevitable outcome. Most of the crew survived." Vrax looked up from the embers in the fire at Tom. He noticed a pained look on the man's face as tears rolled down his cheeks. "Nobody who made it off the ship admitted they were aboard the Unspeakable. We were told the humans would execute us if they found out we were from a battleship. That's likely why you thought nobody survived," Vrax continued. The captain spoke up. "You do know now we never execute prisoners, yes?" "I do, Captain, but at the time..." Vrax trailed off. The fire slowly died as the captain made his rounds, ensuring he spoke to everyone present. Vrax and Tom stayed quiet, staring into the embers. After nearly everyone had left, Tom looked up to Vrax and spoke. "Thank you for telling me so many survived. I have spent years thinking my hands were drenched in the blood of thousands. I have never forgiven myself. It was war, I had no choice, it's not enough to lift the guilt. Many that fought on my species' side in that war feel as you do. That war was unjust, started by our tyrannical leaders and based upon a lie. We fought believing humans were the evil of the galaxy, only to learn our leaders started the war with genocide at your colony gratitude. I entered that war as it ended, but still feel remorse for ever taking part," Vrax said with shame. Tom rose from his seat and walked over to Vrax, offering a handshake. "On behalf of humanity, Vrax, I offer you my forgiveness and my friendship," Tom spoke firmly. Vrax stood from his chair and grasped the human's hand. "And on behalf of the Unspeakable Terror, let your guilt end this day." Vrax and Tom slowly walked out of the massive multipurpose room, and as the embers slowly died, so too did their guilt and remorse. The next day, Neil sat fiddling with the same plasma sensor as Vrax approached from behind. "Neil, what was that? I have never spoken of the war to anyone, let alone a human, since I returned home." "Hey, yeah, enjoyed it, huh? A few hundred years ago, around the time humans called the 21st century, our technology removed fire from our daily lives. Most people would go months or years without peering into the embers of a roaring fire. The mental health of our entire species began to crumble. We finally realized humanity evolved with fire. We needed fire, if only to set our mind at ease. My species too evolved along with fire, but we no longer have need for it. Or so we thought. Vrax spoke, deep in thought. Seems we are more alike than we thought. That's okay. After last night, the captain decided all species aboard with appropriate genetics are invited to the therapy session. In fact, the first task for our shift today is removing the humans only sign from the door.